Hi there, it's Emma Rhodes here. I am the founder of Her Leadership Journey and the creator of the Inspired Leaders Academy, and ultimately here to help you to become a confident and influential leader. Now, in this video, I wanted to run through some a concept about managing your boss from this book called What to Do When You Become the Boss. Now, it's by Bob Selden, and this one was first published in 2010. It's got some great information, some to-dos, actions to take, and there's a whole chapter in here around how to manage your boss. So what I thought I'd do was break that down for you and bring these concepts to you. Now, there's 4 concepts that you need to do to really start the relationship off with your boss. So if you have been in the same role for a while, or you seem to have some kind of troubles with your manager, the communication's not there, there's something quite missing, and you want to get more, have a better relationship, then we can start with these 4 things. If you're brand new into a role, then you must start with these 4 things. Then I'm going to go over 4 rules that he talks about as well. So 4 steps to managing your boss. And the first one is to agree on your manager's expectations of you. So really understand what it means for you to be successful in your role. And I ended up going through this process when I thought I was doing everything right, but my manager kept doing some things that indicated to me that we were both on different pages, and I didn't quite understand. So I called a meeting and said, I really need to understand what it is that you expect of me in this role and how you expect me to be successful. And so after that meeting, it was really great because I had a very clear indication of how she wanted me to do the job. Whereas I was doing the job, my natural style, what I thought that I would be hired for, she wanted it done a certain way. So that was great because then we were able to have further conversations from that actual meeting itself. So really work out what are their top priorities of you? What does that outcome look like? What are also some of the unwritten rules? So depending on your relationship that you have, you might be able to just tap in and say, can you tell me, I know that this is my job description and these are the KPIs or the expectations from that. What are some of the unwritten things that you expect to see from me? So gauge that one. Sometimes it might be a good question to ask. Sometimes you might not have the right relationship with your manager to ask that kind of question. So really understand what those expectations are and be really, really clear, because sometimes your job description is full of a lot of different priorities for the business, but what is your manager's expectation of you and for you to be successful in that role? So the next one is to really understand your own likes and dislikes. So this is where your self-awareness comes in. How is it that you like to communicate with people? And how, really understanding where your strengths lie from there. And then on the next step is to understand your manager's preferences, how they like to communicate. And then what we really need to do is find that gap in the middle and adapt to suit. So if you're somebody who likes to talk on the phone all the time, but your manager is an email, just like in my case, they love email. Every time I called, they would never answer. And then I would get an email saying, excuse me, saying, sorry, I missed your call. What is it you need from me? And I used to think, can you just call me back? But it turns out that they really liked, that they're an emailer. Just one moment. So to understand that, then I knew that I would have to start emailing more if I wanted to. Then it might be email came first, then I follow up with a phone call afterwards. So I can communicate in my best preference, but they had all the information to start with. So really understand, this is a big one, this communication. Really I guess, understanding what the expectations are, then understanding how you communicate and how you operate, understanding how they operate, and then finding ways for you, okay, what kind of tweaks do I need to make then to be able to communicate effectively with them? So I'm not putting any more extra pressure on them, but I'm also getting what I need from them as well. And I'm able to communicate that very clearly. So those are the 4 areas that you need to focus on to really set that expectation start. That's kind of the basic, the framework, the foundation for you. But then Bob goes on to talk about 4 different rules to live by. And he says here that number 1, there should be no surprises for your boss ever. And he says, basically, keep your manager informed of what is happening in your area, and particularly things that are likely to impact them in their reporting or what they need to, what are they going to be asked by their manager? Rule number 2 was never hide a problem. So advise them of potential problems in plenty of time and communicate that in their appropriate style so they can really hear what you're saying quite easily without having to, try and understand what you're saying when they prefer to have email versus phone. Always do your homework is number 3. So when approaching your boss with an issue, make sure you gather all the facts. And then when you're presenting solutions, make sure that you take them and then communicate them again in their preferred communication styles. And number 4 was do not underrate or undercut your boss. Support your boss with others. And if you need to disagree with them, then do it in private. Never do it in private, face to face, and never do it in public. So we really don't want to undermine them or call them out. And I know that I've seen this happen and I've seen the resulting consequences of that. And that never ended up well either. So you might have had some of those experiences, and sometimes you might think, oh yeah, my manager needs to read this book too. You can give it to them as a Christmas present if you like. But rather than being hung up on what somebody else is or isn't doing, let's really take this information and go and apply it to yourself. Identify some areas in there that you might be able to change up or adapt to, something that might be you haven't communicated properly before. What is the one area out of this that you're going to take away and make a change? So let me know in the comments. That is your training for this week, how to manage your manager. The book again is What to Do When You Become the Boss by Bob Selden. He's also got a website, www.whenyoubecometheboss.com. So if you want to go and check out some information from there, it's quite a thick book. There's lots of different information in here. There's managing your meetings, decision making, how to get the best out of your meetings, how to motivate your team. So we've spoken a little bit about that before, how to influence others, how to fire people, how to manage their performance, a little bit of coaching in there as well, how to give feedback, how to motivate others, how to select the right person for the job. So lots of information in here. So they're really small chapters, a few pages at a time, but it's kind of a big handbook, if you like. So that might be a useful resource if you resonate with the way that Bob writes and some of the information that I've just given you today. So let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are around this, what you're doing well, and what's one area that you might need to, or that you will focus on improving going forward from here. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.